welcome to Off the Map Live, January 29th edition. I am your host, as always, Ben Licata. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. I hope your 2018 is going well. So far, mine is. This episode is, we will have Gunnar Gaylord and Francella Salgado with us. Gunnar's going to be here in-house. Francella is going to be via Skype. If you missed our last episode, we spoke with Gabriel Londas, Laura Jade, and Jeff Gogwe, all of the Off the Map Grants Pass location. If you missed it, check it out on YouTube, or you can get it on the Apple iTunes podcast store in your favorite format, video or audio. If you like what you see, please comment and tell your friends about it, because the more comments and reviews we have, the more people will get to see it. So I appreciate your input. This episode is brought to you by Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison's historic book, now in digital form. You can check it out on reinventingthetattoo.com. It's constantly updated. There are videos there. There are guest chapters. A lot more information is there than was in the original book. It's been fully updated. There are guest chapters from people like Russ Abbott, Nick Baxter, Don McDonald, Megan Jean Morris, and a whole bunch more. If you're a tattooer, whether you're just starting out or you've been in it for a few years, Reinventing the Tattoo will definitely help you out. Guy's an amazing man. He is very helpful and willing to give information. So if you get Reinventing the Tattoo, you can get in on the forum and ask him questions, and he's going to get back to you, and he's going to help you out. There's a lot of information in there that is not available in the general public. So check it out, reinventingthetattoo.com. We're also brought to you by Surrender, Jeff Gogwe's brand new mini documentary. If you want to check it out, Jeff has been very gracious with it and put it out for free. So you can check it out on Vimeo or YouTube. Just search for Jeff Gogwe Surrender. It's a little story about Jeff's travels back and forth to Japan and his process of getting a full back piece from Shige, and some of the insight and knowledge that he's gained through that process. I've seen the movie a couple times. I really enjoy it. Even if you're not a tattooer, just interested in tattooing, you should get something out of it. So that's Jeff Gogwe's Surrender. Check it out. We're also brought to you by Voluta Digital. We use Voluta Digital's tattoo release forms here in the shop. They also have piercing forms. The release forms free you up from paper. You don't have to store years and years of paper anymore. It's all iPad driven, and you can store it in the cloud, which is great. You don't have to have boxes of crap. And if your health official wants to see it, you can bring it up anytime you want. It notifies you the artist if there's any medications or allergies or any of that kind of stuff. They sign off, and they're good to go. So that's Voluta Digital Tattoo Release Forms. I highly recommend it. We've been using it here for years, and it's a wonderful product. Also brought to you by Tattoo Now. For those of you who don't know, Tattoo Now came before Off the Map. Tattoo Now is why Off the Map exists. Tattoo Now is a web development company that makes websites for tattoo artists, and we also make webinars, online seminars for tattoo development. There's over 25 webinars on our website now for tattooers, artists in general, and if you're an apprentice, there's some stuff there for you too. There's different tracks. There's painting, there's drawing, and then there's some really in-depth tattooing stuff depending on where you are in your career. If you are a professional tattooer, you can log into Tattoo Now after the show, the Tattoo Now members area, and we're going to do professional development, professionals only segment, half an hour after the show is over. Tonight we're going to do a brutal critique, so you can put your work up there and get critiqued by some great artists. I'm not sure who's going to do it tonight, maybe Gunnar. If you don't currently have a Tattoo Now artist account, go to tattoonow.com/free trial and sign up. You'll get yourself an artist account, and you can take you can have full benefit of what's available out there. So we're going to be doing professional development segments after the show every other week, and there'll be different topics and subjects, and be a part of it. Also brought to you by Paradise Tattoo Gathering. It's going to be this year. I think it's our 10-year anniversary, which is amazing to think. It's going to be at Jiminy Peak, October 11th through the 14th. That's here in Massachusetts. It's in the beautiful Berkshire Mountains. It's our 10th year, so we spent a lot of time. We're excited to have taken a year off and taken a look at the show, and we've improved a lot of what's going on. So if you thought it was good before, it's going to be even better this time. This year is gearing up to be the most effective show yet. If you're a tattooer at any stage in your career, you will get a lot out of PTG. And if you're just watching because you're interested in tattoos, you can come to the show as a collector and have a chance to get tattooed by some of the best in the business. If you leave some good comments on our YouTube or podcast channel, you might be able to win yourself some tickets. So we'll be giving them away each show before Paradise comes up. So please give us your comments and feedback, and you might get yourself a free ticket to Paradise. Early bird tickets are on sale now. Artist Weekend Passes, Studio 5-packs, and Collector Weekend Passes are on sale at ParadiseTattooGathering.com. The price is lower now for the early bird stuff, so get in while you can, while the price is right. I want to give a quick thank you to Needle Jig and Cheyenne Tattoo Equipment for providing us with some great needles recently. Cheyenne gave us a whole bunch of their new craft needles, and personally, I really liked them. The new tip style was very comfortable, and it had the typical Cheyenne quality. If you are a tattooer, check out the Cheyenne's craft needles. And Needle Jig has been solid for years. I've been using their liners as long as I've been tattooing, and I will probably use them forever. I love them, and a lot of the folks here do. So check out Needle Jig and Cheyenne Tattoo Equipment. And as always, we are brought to you by Off the Map. I know this has been a long intro, and thank you for bearing with me. But without Off the Map, there would be no Off the Map Live. So thanks for watching, and welcome to my booth. On this episode, we have Gunnar, and we have Francella Salgado. So make sure that you stick around, and it's going to be enlightening. If you are in the area, we host art nights, so stop by. If you have an art night at your shop, maybe we'll Skype in with you, so let us know about your art night. I will talk to you guys shortly. We'll be back just after this.
Decorative, the main focus, main intention was to talk about ornamental tattooing. And really, it's the conscious decision of removing the picture or the thing from your tattoo.
Today, I want to throw myself at your mercy and attempt to design a tattoo in front of you on my computer using a graphics tablet. Apparently I can do this design in about an hour and a half and get it ready for a stencil. So we're going to see how well I do under the gun with that.
My seminar is going to be called The Jade Effect, and I want to make sure that I talk about where I came from, and I want to encourage everyone that even if it looks easy, it's not easy, and it takes a lot of practice. I'm still not perfect, and I never will be, but I think that I have some good things to offer. I also want to tell some really bad jokes. Maybe really well, maybe really good jokes really bad. I don't know.
Going like this and this for 10,000 hours, you're going to get good at doing those two things, this and this. I really want to just share with you what I've learned by focusing on large-scale work, because that is my true passion. I really focused in on what I love, which was a Japanese Art Nouveau blend, and I was gearing towards larger scale. But the thing is, when you haven't done a bodysuit, it's hard to get a person to get a bodysuit. So I'm just going to share with you the things that I have encountered and really invite you in to my new 10-year journey, which I'm 2 years in. I want to do tattoos. And if it was made illegal today, and all the supplies were legal and all that, I would still find a way to tattoo. Yeah, I would go back to tattooing out of my house. I would do it underground. I'd get Japanese on it.
I'm Ben Licata, and I'm an artist. I'm looking for clients that are into creepy, dark stuff like I am. I want to cultivate a style that is uniquely Ben Licata. I'm trying to gear towards dot work, black work, illustrative style. I've always been drawing skulls as long as I can remember, so that's what I'm doing. Bob Tyrell was the very first person I ever put a needle on in a tattoo that Ralph Nonweiler was doing on him at the moment. At the end of that night, they made me shake their hand and promise that I would start tattooing. Guy Aitchison has also played a huge hand in my development. He's allowed me to send him drawings and given me critical feedback. Given my history of making webinars and professional development seminars for tattoo artists, I've watched hundreds of hours of streaming seminars, and they've definitely helped my tattooing take off a lot faster than someone who might not have had access to that kind of stuff. But if you want a Tasmanian devil, I'm here too. Every day. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Thank you for watching. As you saw from that last video, I am tattooing full-time. If you are interested in a tattoo, hit me up. If you want to see my work, check me out at benlicata.com or at Burnbridge on Instagram. I'm all right. My clients seem to like me. You might too. So we're going to dial up Francella right now, and we'll see what she has to say. Shouldn't be. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. How are you?
Hey.
Nice
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So, welcome to Off the Map Live.
Thanks. For the kind of second time.
Yes, I know. The last time didn't work out so good.
It's a.
What happened last time? Bad internet, maybe?
We could see each other. We couldn't hear each other.
Oh, yeah. That would have made for a really awkward show.
Yeah.
And my American Sign Language is pretty terrible.
I know. I know nothing.
So for folks
Just flip the bird.
for folks that are watching that might not know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Francella Salgado. I am an artist out of El Paso. I've been tattooing probably about 10 years or so. I would consider myself a painter first, a tattooer second, but I love tattooing too. I guess what I am more known for now is like my color, although I can certainly do black and gray too, and I enjoy black and gray, I guess maybe because I don't get to do it quite as often. But I really enjoy doing like animals and portraits and like kind of like an illustrative realism type thing. I kind of blend different things together and just kind of come up with my own stuff. But yeah, that's me.
Can you tell me a little bit how you got started in art? Has it been part of your life for most of your life?
I would say so. I mean, as a kid, you know, I did a lot of like the doodles and the scribbles and stuff, but I would say it was more around high school when I took art more seriously, and I realized that like I can kind of draw a face that actually looks like a face. So my interest picked up and peaked in high school, and I started just diving myself into learning different techniques and just different styles, and I started out with charcoal, so I was just a mess with charcoal all the time. But I would book like art shows when I was in high school. This is how from humble beginnings, I would book my own tiny little art shows, and nobody would show up except for my family.
You know what?
So
that takes a lot of courage to book an art show. You know, like,
Yeah.
I
well,
wasn't confident enough. I wouldn't have done that.
I just had a real strong desire to get my work out because I felt like if I didn't do that, nobody would even know I was an artist, you know? So I started there, and then just things kind of grew from there. And here I am. I'm 35 now, and I started doing all that stuff when I was about 15. So I'd say I've been around a little while.
So do you have formal art training?
Very little. I did take. I mean, I had some college classes, but I didn't fully follow through. I don't necessarily recommend that to anybody, but that was just sort of my path. And I'm very much like self-taught, but of course I study a lot on my own, and I check out other people's work, and I'm influenced by a lot of things and a lot of artists, and just a lot of stuff. I feel like I'm sort of like this sponge, and I absorb, you know, just everything in my surroundings, and that helps me to grow as an artist, myself.
So what is your painting medium? Like, do you oil, acrylic, watercolor?
I'm really big on acrylic, actually. I love acrylic. I'm a bit of a fast painter. I don't have a lot of patience when it comes to painting. So I work kind of quickly, and I like things to dry quickly, and, you know. So I like acrylics. I use acrylics quite a bit. I can do watercolor, but it's not, I like it okay. I like oils too, but for me, I kind of sit with acrylic.
And how long have you been painting?
Well, painting good,
Well,
or like painting better.
When did you start considering yourself a painter and not someone who was interested in painting?
Well, I mean, I started painting as a teenager, but I would say my paintings didn't really take form until I was probably in my 20s.
Oh, right on.
But everything evolves, you know, like I feel like my painting, my style, everything has just evolved. Like just this past year, my painting style evolved quite a bit.
So you say you consider yourself a painter first and a tattooer next.
Yeah.
Why? How do you differentiate? Would you rather be a painter, or would you rather be a tattooer, or do you think you're just better at one than the other?
No, not. I mean, the way I see it, or the way it feels for me, is that painting is a bit more fulfilling to like my own soul, I guess.
Sure.
I love tattooing, and I love connecting with people, but painting is sort of like an emotional outlet for myself. It allows me to breathe. If I'm not creating or painting, or I don't know, I feel like I go a little bit crazy, so I have to paint. And tattooing is cool, but tattooing is more, it's not just personal. I'm doing something for someone else as well, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like painting is very personal, and you become very vulnerable with your work, and that's just kind of like where I live and breathe, is through painting.
Have you been able to achieve that kind of personal tie to your art in some of your tattoos? Do you ever cross that bridge?
Oh, certainly, yeah, for sure. And I enjoy that, but again, I feel like because you're creating something for someone else, you sort of have to separate yourself in a way from that. It's kind of like with my paintings. I have a really hard time selling originals. And I feel like when I sell original, I'm giving a piece of myself away. And it's very difficult for me. With a tattoo, there's sort of a line and a boundary there. And I understand prior going into the tattoo that I'm going to be giving this away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally get that. So you recently just got back from the Star of Texas, right? Austin, Texas show?
Yep, just like an hour or two ago.
Well, thank you for coming on the show after the travel.
No problem. I hauled ass to my house from the airport.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no.
How was the show?
It was cool, man. It was great. I ended up going, I missed Friday. I didn't work it, which is kind of weird and rare for me to be at a tattoo convention and not actually be working. But Gabe hit me up kind of last minute and asked me to go down because he wanted to continue working on my leg. So I jumped on it, and I ended up getting there. I got there Friday evening, but spent time with my family, and then did the convention Saturday and Sunday. I got tattooed on Sunday, but of course, you know, just reuniting with my tattoo family is even more fulfilling to me than going and just getting tattooed. I love them so much. I love Gabe and Leanne, and I saw Nicole out there, and Jeff was there, and it was just great. It was just an awesome weekend.
So for folks who don't know, she's talking about Gabe Londis, Nicole Lobbs, and Jeff Gogwe, all of Off the Map residents. Also, some of my favorite people in the entire world.
Heck yeah, they're awesome. I love them.
So where else have you traveled?
Well, let's see, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gone a lot of places, but I've been to like Pittsburgh, a lot of places that's closer to home. So we have like Albuquerque, New Mexico, San Antonio, Dallas. I've gone, the problem with me in traveling, it's become a little bit easier for me now, but I have a small child, and it's hard to get help in, you know, with childcare sometimes for me to up and go a place somewhere.
Sure.
So she's 6 now, so it's becoming a little bit easier. But you know, 6 years ago it was really hard.
Yeah. How do you balance being a mom and a traveling tattooer? Is it difficult?
Lots of coffee. It's super hard. It's super hard because I'm traveling for tattooing. I'm a mother, but I'm also a shop owner, and it's not even just a tattoo shop. It's also a gift shop and a gallery. So I'm just constantly juggling lots. I'm juggling lots of things all the time. Never have a moment to spare. So me rushing here to do this interview is like no thing. I feel like it's just part of my crazy madness of my life.
How do you balance it all? Do you have any secrets, or are you just kind of dealing with it as it comes?
You know what I do, actually? Every morning when I take my daughter to school, I come home, and I have about a 2 to 3 hour time period where before I go into work, and I use that time just for myself. And I journal, and I meditate, and I do stuff like that. And I feel like that's sort of what helps me to keep my sanity and balance everything, because I'm kind of on a schedule. So at any time, because of my daughter, you know, I'm on a schedule. So anytime I up and go somewhere for travel, that's where things get a little bit tricky. But it just requires a lot of planning, and which I don't mind. I'm a Virgo, so I'm like meticulous when it comes to stuff like that, like organizing, planning, doing this and that. But I don't know. I do everything I do just because it's very fulfilling for me, even if I'm exhausted most of the time.
Sure. I mean, you only go this way one time, so you might as well wring everything possible out of it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In 10 more years, you know, you might have yourself a young apprentice as well, you know, that can travel with you.
Yeah, and yeah, I would like to have like a whole crew. Like, I mean, someone that can watch my daughter.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like your daughter could be your young apprentice, who if she's interested.
Yeah, and she's quite an artist herself. She likes to draw on me and try to do what I do, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to watch.
So tell me a little bit about your studio. What's it like? How many folks are working there with you?
It's a very, very tiny, tiny little place as far as the tattoo portion of it is concerned. So I'm in El Paso. I'm in one of the most historic little districts in the city, and my place is in like 100-year-old home. And the way it's all laid out is pretty interesting, but I have a gift shop in the front portion. There's a little bit of a gallery as you walk towards the back, and then the very, very back portion is the tattoo shop, and it's only 2 of us. So myself, I'm by appointment only, and then I have Christian at the shop who will take walk-ins or the stuff that I can't take on. But it's a real small shop, but it works for now. but I don't know. I have some plans for some stuff in the future. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
What made you want to start your own shop and focus on other things other than tattooing in your shop? Why the gift shop part of it?
Well, about I guess it's been like about 6 years ago. I opened up a gift shop. So I had a gift shop, and then I was tattooing at another shop, so I would bounce back and forth between days. And it was really stressful, and it was around the time that my daughter was barely born. And a lot of stuff happened with this gift shop, and I was kind of forced to relocate. And when I ended up finding this other place, it was large enough to have everything under one roof. And that, I know I'd ultimately wanted to have my own shop at some point in my life. It just, the opportunity just sort of presented itself to me, and I absolutely took it. I feel like anytime an opportunity presents itself, I jump on it.
Oh, right on. So I noticed when you were here, you're totally into like crystals and things like that.
Yeah, that's one thing I sell in my shop.
What do you think how does that benefit you? Like, they're new to me. Kelsey, who you met when you were here, kind of introduced me to a lot of that kind of stuff. What's the positives from that kind of thing?
Well, did you see her tattoo that you streamed up there?
What's that?
Those crystals, that was on Kelsey.
Yeah, right.
Tattoo that. So crystals, okay, crystals are basically energy, right? We ourselves are also energy. Yeah, we have a body, like a physical body or whatever, but ultimately what it comes down to is that we're energy. So sometimes, the way I look at crystals is that they're like medicines that are given to us that are straight from the earth. I'm not the type of person that likes to take any kind of pills or, like any kind of prescription pills or anything like that. So I use crystals for a variety of things, along with herbs and stuff, because I feel like it all kind of ties in and comes together. But different crystals work for different things, and it just really depends. Like, I have people come to me in the shop all the time, with anxiety or just have a tendency of attracting a lot of problems into their lives, and so I'll guide them towards what I believe will help them. So, like, say you have anxiety, an amethyst would be perfect for that, because it's a very calming stone. It helps with anxiety. Depression, like lepidolite would be for depression. There's just a lot of different things. So, yeah.
Well, right on. Thank you for sharing that with me, because, like I said, I'm pretty new to that kind of thing.
Well, next time I come up, I'll bring a little goodie bag of crystals for you and explain what each one are.
Cool.
My gift. Yeah.
I've been hiking. I live out in the woods, and I keep coming across lots of quartz, like huge masses of quartz and things. And I've been
really.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. So I found one that was like 6 feet around, like big, massive quartz, and I broke a chunk off of it. Yeah, like huge, because I live on a mountain. Like,
yeah.
It was just glowing in the woods because it was kind of dusk, and I saw it. And
that is.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure it all out. I want to make that more of a part of my day-to-day kind of thing.
Well, quartz in particular is pretty cool. If anyone comes into the shop and they're not really familiar with crystals, but they want to start, I always recommend starting with quartz, because it sort of is like a universal master healer. It kind of like covers all grounds in a way. But what's cool about quartz is that once you start collecting other crystals or other stones, it's an amplifier of other stones. So it helps, like, paired with something else, it just amplifies the properties of that other particular stone. So you found a good one.
Awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm trying. So I've just been joined by Gunnar.
Sweet.
How's it going?
Where is he?
He's right here.
Hey, what's going on?
Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So, Gunnar, Francella, Gunnar.
We've actually met before. I don't know if he remembers, but we chit-chat here and there through social media, so we kind of know each other.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to go down and visit one day.
Yes, that's the plan.
Yeah.
That's the master plan.
Yeah.
Someday when
my excursion did not take me that far south.
Because it's too hot.
Yeah.
Because it's hot in the desert.
It's really hot.
It's fucking cold right now.
Not in August or July.
Yeah, this is true.
All right, so Francella, how did you become aware of this man right here? This very young-looking old-timer tattooer.
Through tattoo magazines from back in the day. And it was really cool. I don't think he remembers, but several years back I did the show in Pittsburgh, and that's where I met him. And I picked up a print off of him, and I was like, oh shit, Gunner's here. So it was actually pretty cool. It was cool to cross paths in that way.
Yeah, I remember. I got reminded because I didn't know we had met, and then we talked on Instagram.
Oh, right on.
So, I don't have a good memory sometimes.
He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember.
I do. I just said Pittsburgh like 5 minutes ago.
He kind of remembers.
I have an old man memory. It's good for like, it's like young man all time.
It's all good. No worries.
Yeah.
So Gunnar and I are the same age, so the whole memory thing is bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
but look how young he looks and look how old I look.
That's just an excuse.
Well, how old are you guys?
43. Well, I am.
Okay.
Gunnar might be younger. I don't know. I don't know what he puts out there publicly.
I think I'm 43.
All right,
sure.
so he's willing to admit it. Yeah, we're both 43.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, I don't lie
Just
about
a few years older than me.
You got a lot more gray, though.
I have a lot of gray. Yeah.
Wow. I have like six
It's
or
wisdom.
6 or 7.
I've earned this.
Wisdom, pain, torment, you know, all that stuff. Do you have any questions for Francella?
No, because I feel like we're going to have to visit at some point. Because she does some cultural stuff down there that I'm very interested in.
Such as?
Native American culture.
Yeah, well, I'm part of an indigenous community. I do indigenous ceremony. I'm also an Aztec dancer. That for me is like, that's where I really resonate. I'm also a fire dancer, but I want to take Gunnar to, we have one of our state parks is Waco Tanks, and it's really cool. It's got like thousands of years old pictographs that are in the mount or in these giant boulders, and it's so beautiful out there, and I feel like he would appreciate it.
Yeah, that's what I do. I like nature and history.
Me too. That was one of the reasons why I fell in love with the East Coast. Like when I went up there and we kayaked and fished and canoed. I went canoeing with Tim, and like I went fishing with the boys, and it was great. I loved it. I loved being out there. It's beautiful.
There's a lot of fishing that happens at Off the Map Northeast.
Yeah, I know.
Here.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Because Jeff does that type of stuff too, doesn't he, out there on the west?
Maybe.
Or
if he has,
kayaking or something.
If he has time.
Yeah.
But a lot of the people here will go fishing before work.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
They tried getting me to go out at like 4 in the morning one time, and I was like, no.
No?
Not 4 in the morning.
Matt and Ryan will go fishing at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And when Gabe Londas was here, he would also do the same thing.
Yeah, I know. And then tattoo till like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, at the earliest. Yeah, sometimes Gabe Londas would get up at 4 a.m., go fishing, tattoo until like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then do it again.
Sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would do that.
That's why he's awesome. That's why he's been tattooing for 4 years and looks like he's been tattooing for 14.
Right. No.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of grace?
No, I mean his tattoos. They're amazing.
All those long nights, it means you've lived a little bit more. It's not a lot of rest.
It's true. So Tim Senecal says that a poor memory is a sign of intelligence.
I got to be smart as hell.
Yeah. Well,
Hi, Tim.
Francella, thanks so much for chatting with me, and I'm glad it worked this time.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to seeing you here at the shop sometime, and if you could come out for Paradise, that would be great too.
I'm
do that.
working. It was talked all about this weekend, so I'm gonna work on it.
Cool.
Hopefully, I'll be out there.
All right.
Cool, man.
I will.
Thank you.
If I don't see you soon, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye. We'll see you guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Francella Salgado, everybody. We'll be back in just a couple minutes with Gunnar. See you then.
The jade effect, I guess, is the result of things that have affected me. I started off doing henna. The flow from henna and doing so much henna is in my hand. I decided to go to this, which changed my life because I saw things like this. So I was 17 and I decided to go to India by myself. This was the truest experience I had had from another person receiving something like this. I don't want to sound too crazy, but she's still the reason why I tattooed today. You guys are awesome. And I love tattooing so much. So thank you guys.
When people see my work, I don't know what they see in it. I barely know what I'm trying to convey, but I do believe that they see some pure intentions, and I think that they see someone that's trying to do the best they can. When I start a piece, I go into it unknowing. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know where we're going to end up. I don't know if it's going to ever even be finished. I just go into it with my whole heart, and I go into it hoping that we can make something good out of it.
I tattoo because I like to connect with people, and I like to make the world a better place if I can, and more beautiful, and empower people, and I can't think of any other way that I could do that. I go about designing my work, it sounds cheesy, but from the soul or from a place that I can't describe. So if they seem nervous, I'll try and calm them down, tell them that I'm nervous too, or that I get nervous when I get tattooed.
I don't even know why. I used to know why I tattoo, but now I tattoo for reasons that I can't even explain.
Oh, come on, you'll have a good time. Hurry up and get on your shorts.
Tattooing in general, I feel like I'm on the fringe. I don't feel like I am part of what popular tattooing is exactly. I feel like tattooing is ancient. I feel like it's sacred, and I feel like I am a part of that, but I'm just a small part.
My ideal tattoo is, I guess I just want it to be a collaboration between me and the client in a way that feels good and ends in a good result. I don't have attachment to having it look a certain way. I guess it's hard because now after working here, I see the tattoo as not just one singular thing, but a whole lifetime of session.
At whatever stage you may be in your tattoo career, apprentice, experienced street shop tattooer, or fully custom artist, it's hard not to feel a little competitive in today's tattoo industry, with so many amazing artists working in all styles in virtually every corner of the world. But you can benefit right now by learning from the experience of the tattoo professionals who have dedicated themselves to education in this industry. I'm Guy Aitchison, and I've been teaching in the tattoo field for much of my 27 years in the trade, with most of my educational efforts being focused within my Reinventing the Tattoo platform, which has been an industry standard in education for nearly 2 decades. Reinventing was originally conceived as a series of seminars that I held at tattoo conventions, and its curriculum has been filled out and fine-tuned according to the needs of the artists attending these classes. It's now a massive standalone educational package which can be viewed on any kind of device in order to bring the answers you need right to your fingertips. The Reinventing the Tattoo curriculum is centered around a group of fundamental artistic principles of composition, including flow and fit on the body, contrast, positive-negative relationships, color theory, depth, and other concepts, which are framed in a way that is meant to be as useful as possible to working tattoo artists. The material then covers uses of reference imagery and digital tools in your design process, along with a review of alternate art forms such as oils and watercolors and how they can help refine your skills as a tattoo artist. The technical sections are as comprehensive as possible, covering everything from machines and other basic equipment to stenciling and working on various challenging parts of the body. Not only am I sharing everything useful that I know about these subjects, but I'm also enlisting the help of various top-name professionals, such as Russ Abbott, Nick Baxter, Megan Jean Morris, Phil Garcia, Halo Jankowski, and Don McDonald to share their own experience on these topics. You may have already read the book version of Reinventing the Tattoo. However, the new electronic edition has been seriously updated and expanded beyond the scope of the old book, including not only new chapters by myself and our guest writers, but also introducing a massive section on cover-up tattooing, including chapters on lasers and scar cover-ups, plus loads of new video footage to further illustrate the book's topics. Subscribers can look forward to seeing new material added regularly, along with further updates to existing content as the Reinventing curriculum continues to expand and evolve. I'd like to invite you to drop by reinventingthetattoo.com to read more about what we have to offer in the Reinventing the Tattoo educational package. It's the biggest and most detailed teaching effort I've ever been involved with, and I'm completely confident that no matter where you stand in your tattoo career, it can help you to take your work to the next level.
Here's to this.
Hey, we're back. I'm here with Gunnar. I'm Ben, as usual. Hey, Gunnar. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
So what you guys didn't hear was a bunch of stuff that was really funny, and you're never going to hear it. So maybe you should come here in person sometime.
It's a good idea.
So Gunnar, for folks who might not know you, you've been tattooing a little while.
A few years.
A couple of years now?
Yeah.
You started, what, 15 years ago?
21 now. 18, 2018.
10 years ago?
About 5 years
21
now.
years ago. So even though Gunnar looks like a young man, he's been around with all the old timers for a long time. And you may have noticed recently, if you follow him on social media, that he's been bringing up a lot of topics, like education topics, things about tattooing that people don't always say.
Oh, they say it in the back rooms.
Right, in public.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about your beginnings. How did you come to tattooing?
I actually started in Connecticut. When I was in college, I had been drawing some stuff for like band stuff, like flyers, and some tattoo designs. And then I met a guy named Jerry Issel, who used to work, I think he's up at
like hardcore band?
Stinky Monkey now.
Like
Jerry
skinhead
Issel.
bands?
Like
hardcore band?
Not skinhead, but like hardcore, like straight edge hardcore.
Right, hardcore
stuff.
before
Yeah,
it
but it
changed.
wasn't
before
like,
it changed
yeah,
to what?
before it changed to like anger, like where it was more angry.
Right, but it was still aggressive dudes.
It was aggressive, yeah. Like Revelation era New York hardcore.
So you were like the arty kid. They were like, we need a flyer.
Like back when Hatebreed was just a 14. So
Right on.
for a while, back a long time ago.
So for some of you old school hardcore fans, you'll get that reference.
But so I did some, but I wasn't really. I just was I wasn't good. I was in a hardcore band and got kicked out because I sucked.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. So they
you
kicked
a
me
singer?
out. Yeah. And then the band went in a little bit different direction. And then I did like their cassette tape covers back when we had cassette tapes.
The J card?
Yeah.
You made a J card for
the
him?
J card. Yeah. For all you guys that don't know, before CDs, and if you don't know CDs, man, it's so long ago. Yeah, we had little cassette tapes recorded on like 8-track recorders.
I'm like a 25-year musician veteran, so
Yeah.
I know that.
So I did the art for that stuff, and then I went and got tattooed, and the guy who tattooed me was kind of familiar with some of the stuff. I drew the tattoo I got because I was that guy. And then
Same.
Yeah, and then they
Wait, let's talk about that for a second. I don't talk about this much because a lot of the people I talk to are younger tattooers, or we just get into other stuff. When I was first starting to get tattooed, it was early 90s. It was like 91. And I didn't understand that tattoo artists were artists. I thought that you brought them an image and they put it on you. And people still think that. What were you thinking when you brought an image to your artist?
Well, the first tattoo I got done was in Waterbury at Brass City Tattoo.
My friend Sean works there now.
Yeah, and it was
From
like
Hatebreed.
Yeah, and they were I know Sean. Yeah, I know his wife too.
It's Jessica.
Yeah. So anyways, and they were both artists, the guys who worked there at the time. I'm not going to be able to remember the name, Pete and, I don't know, it's too long ago now. So I was 18, I mean, that was a while ago. And they both, I'm pretty confident they were both good artists. I got like a little, like, my first tattoo was the little monster from Looney Tunes, the little like red Gossamer.
Oh, Gossamer.
Yeah, so that was my first tattoo that I got. And I brought in just a picture, and they drew it up like in 10 minutes and then did the tattoo. And it was a nice, clean tattoo. It was good. It later got covered up by Will Lolly.
But it's too bad you don't still have it.
I'm a little bummed. I'm actually bummed I don't have it. But anyways, they and it was so scary because I was at that point. This is my story that I share with my clients. I was so nervous because back then, like, it wasn't like a great neighborhood. It wasn't like now where you can go to like a strip mall and get tattooed.
I mean, Brass City is still a pretty rough shop.
It was a rough area.
I mean,
at the time.
Still is.
Yeah.
Especially the midnight shift.
Yeah,
it's
so
still a rough shop.
when I went there, you know, and this is a long time ago, it was kind of a rough area. Like I was kind of a suburban kid, kind of going into like a little bit of a rougher, what I thought was a rougher neighborhood. And I remember
it legitimately was.
And it was back when like tattoo studios were intimidating, not like where there's like a bunch of like young kids that aren't very intimidating, but like the guys were kind of intimidating looking.
They were, yeah, right. They were probably in their mid-20s or like early 30s. Like,
yeah, I don't even remember.
But they looked grizzled. Chances are they
for
smoked
a young
constantly.
Kid,
yeah.
You were like,
that was my experience as well.
And I came from like the hardcore culture, but I was still like a little intimidated.
Sure.
And I remember getting like a little bit lightheaded, and I was like, could I just use the bathroom? And I went to the bathroom so afraid that if I passed out, they would like beat the shit out of me.
Right, they'd call you a pussy and throw you out.
Like, yeah, that was like a thing I really like lived with.
Right.
So that's like my story every time I have clients.
Back then you were afraid of being called a pussy.
I was afraid.
Damn it! I don't want to be a
pussy.
pussy.
My ass handed to me.
Sure.
Yeah. So I remember like that's my story now when I have clients that are nervous and I'm like, it's okay, you know, if you get lightheaded and you kind of walk them through that stuff. So anyways, yeah, that was my first experience. And then I started getting tattooed by this kid, Jerry Issel, who worked at Studio Z in New Haven. And
moving on
Z
up.
Z had a good, you know, he had a good name out there. I couldn't afford, or like, he was just out of my, maybe not even out of my reach. He just wasn't doing the work I wanted.
What attracted you to being tattooed? Why were you searching for tattoos? Why was it something that you wanted to do?
I had already, so by then I had two, because I went back to Waterbury and got a tattoo on I got another tattoo. I have a tribal band with the Punisher skull.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I was straight edge. So
Punisher skull, that's early, because Punisher skull didn't get adopted into like normal shit until like 15 years later. So
so I was like
early adopter.
That was like, because I was a huge Punisher comic fan in high school, and I remember him like as a straight edge kid. I thought like he epitomized that like.
Well, I mean, you were angry,
masculine,
probably not getting laid enough. So I mean, it all worked, right?
It could have been.
I mean,
you might have just wrote my history for me.
I mean, it's possible.
It could be.
It's possible.
Yeah. You never know.
Anger skulls.
It could be my
tribal.
modern history now. I don't know. It could be today. So I got. So anyways, I ended up going there, and it was just they were local because I was going to college in New Haven at the time. They were a local studio. Jerry was like a super awesome dude, and I wanted a chrome. I started a clothing company in college.
No shit.
That was like a skateboard clothing company, like kind of geared towards skateboarding. And, but it was all like just, you know, like hippies suck and like anti.
Sure. You know, it was like angry white kid. Sure.
Yeah,
sure. No, I get it.
Angry suburban kid.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I'm not like an angry person.
But, no, I know, but that's maybe in that time of your life that you were like, fuck everything.
Yeah, hardcore mentality.
Yeah. Fuck you, fuck this.
Yeah, punk rock.
Yeah, right. I got a comfortable home to live in, but fuck you guys. Yeah. Sure. I mean, I came from a very similar thing, you know.
So I didn't have a comfortable home, and I had some angst. Maybe I did.
I mean, you grew up in Connecticut, so it wasn't that bad. You didn't grow up in like rural. You didn't grow up.
We all got our stories.
Okay.
So
sure.
So I ended up in college, but I was in college at the time. I had this company. Went to get tattooed, and the guy was like, they were looking for an apprentice at the time. Asked me if I'd be interested, and I took him up on the offer. So I didn't go searching to be a tattoo artist, but once he like offered it and I knew that was a thing. It's like when you don't know, it's like you don't know it's a thing. Like this is like if a guidance counselor was like, you know, you could start buying up .coms and become a millionaire, and you were like, that's a thing, I could do that?
I could do that?
Like, yeah, so it was like that with tattooing, I didn't know. So once I got into it, then I like, that was it, that's all there was. Like I tunnel vision on things. So as soon as that was it, like, I started like studying, and I was doing all traditional tattoos.
Did you just consume everything tattoo that you could find?
Yeah, like I just was absorbed. And
at that time it was magazines. You know?
Magazines, and there was like Spalding Rogers catalogs where you could look at all the flash, but they were like 1 inch by 1 inch images, so I couldn't like have it all, but I could like...
You could photocopy it.
You could
only so big.
You could photocopy
only so big, and then it got super blurry.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I would like, and I would just sit there, and so, and you know, and my mentor at the time, Z and Jerry, they would kind of be like, hey, you gotta redraw this stuff and then watercolor it, and that's your thing. So I got super into like traditional, and I thought I was kind of like, I went through that like from that hardcore to like kind of a rockabilly kid phase.
Same.
And yeah, I think there's a transition. Like I
it's
didn't,
funny
I
to
didn't
watch.
Go ska, but I went rockabilly.
It's funny. Like you go like punk rock to rockabilly because like that's blue collar enough.
Yeah.
And you don't realize that a lot of it's just kind of flashy.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh.
I like the look of it, and I like the way the girls dressed.
I mean, I loved like the '50s throwback kind of like blue collar American kind of hard working.
And Swinger, I think the movie Swingers just came out, and I think that was kind of a neat like thing.
I did that too. For sure. I did have a thrash metal thing that happened in the middle of it all. I didn't go straight edge. I was like drinking rock thing, but similar thing.
Yeah,
but I also came around to the rockabilly.
Yeah,
and tattoos were a big part of that.
Straight edge till I was 22.
Especially traditional tattoos.
Yeah, and it was all a part of the, it was part of that culture. So, and I was a skateboarder. So it was all kind of like, I think it all like intermixed into that like social, into that like subculture context. So...
Isn't it funny to look back at subculture and realize that it was just culture?
I'm still in
like,
but subculture became like regular mainstream culture.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff I liked as a kid, as I grew up, it was funny because my parents and grandparents would be like, you're so ahead of yourself because that's what's cool now. And I'm like, well,
it was co-opted.
It just got bought out like that. Like,
commercialized.
Yeah, got commercialized, like tattooing is now. So... But punk rock went through all that. It had its MTV phase, and it all gets its, you know, its notoriety, I guess. Subculture will always rise to the top because it's where everything starts. Like, It's where everything starts.
And everyone wants to be cool. Yeah. So eventually,
they're afraid of it at first.
But they looked at new things. Like, all right, how can I be cool now?
Yeah.
I'll go take this.
So so whatever's happening now, that subculture, keep an eye on because that's where you should invest your money. Like that's probably
no fucking way, man. Like hand poked like. Minimalist stuff that looks like it was drawn by my 8-year-old kid.
Yeah, but that's big now, right?
It's huge. That's what I'm saying. Like I can't look to that and that if that's the future.
Could be the future.
But I am a curmudgeon, so a lot of that stuff is like, fuck that.
Which is it's dangerous to be a curmudgeon now because there's too many kids doing this. So that's why, like now, why I started trying to teach going to the youth culture a little bit more.
So I wanted to talk about all the old stuff so that we can bring it around to today.
Yeah, so I'm an old curmudgeon that decided to stop being an old curmudgeon because it's unhealthy. And times are, like whether you like it or not, the world is going to change around us. And if you get caught in the fact that you think coal is going to be the only way to fuel an economy for the rest of your life, then you're living in history instead of living in the future.
Absolutely.
Tattooing's changing, so whether we like it or not, we're moving from a time period that it'll still always have historical relevance. It'll still have historical these things that are meaningful and purposeful. And watching people do like Tabori tattoos, it's not. I don't know how to do it.
Me either.
That's not the modern tattoo machine. But everybody who's like, coil's the only way. Well, that's a traditional way of tattooing. So how come we didn't learn that? Like we should, right? If we're gonna.
Yeah. Did you learn to tattoo with a single thorn? No, I didn't. I didn't. No, it's cool, but I did learn how to sharpen a single needle on a grinding stone, on a whetstone. So I have that, and I know how to make I know how to make needles and clean tubes. I did all that stuff. But anyways, I've never made needles.
But tattooing's changing, and the reality is now we can buy like when people are like, "Oh, you don't know how to make a needle." Is that relevant? Like, I don't know how to make a paintbrush.
I don't know how to build a car.
So is it necessarily relevant to be a proficient tattoo artist now and not know how to make needles? I don't think it is. I think you can be an awesome technician with tattooing and not know how to make a needle. And there's people that'll argue with that fact.
And usually the people that argue that fact are people that had to.
That had to.
That had
yes.
to. That had to do it. You know.
Had to.
Yeah.
But if you asked me to do it again, and I was like, I can buy this for like 50 cents, or I can sit here and waste 4 hours of my day making this, I'm gonna buy the product.
And I appreciate the trade. I appreciate the craft of it all. But it's futile to do that.
Yeah.
But you know what I did the first thing when I got here to work this morning?
Make needles?
I made a clip cord.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing to know.
Like out of audio cable that I found upstairs.
Yeah, that's good.
But because you need to. Sometimes
you need to know.
You need to know how to do shit.
Yeah, because then they always fucking break because
that's why I made
whatever crappy stuff they're doing to weld those things or solder them sucks because they break all the time.
Because they're garbage.
Because
they need to be changed. There shouldn't be clip cords.
There should be a new they should be Bluetooth by now.
Well, yes, wireless power would be great.
So
yes.
So anyways, yeah. So I started doing that because I think there was stuff that wasn't being handed down. Then there were people that were mad that some kids didn't know this stuff. And then you were like, well, no one's teaching them because they're learning from apprentices. There's apprenticing apprentices.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There are people that have not learned their craft or trade whatsoever. And then they're like, here's everything I don't know because I suck at what I do. Good luck.
So let's rewind a bit and we'll go back 6 months to where you decided that you were going to sell everything. Anything that wouldn't fit in a Jeep.
Everything that wouldn't fit in a Jeep.
And you're going to travel.
Yeah.
And you're going to be a nomad. For better or for worse, that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, a little vagabonding.
Yeah. You can talk about why you did that or you don't have to. But that 6 month journey has kind of led you to where you are now talking about this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I think was a part of, it started like a little bit before because there was a time period where when the TV shows came out, and I'm still like, I know everybody has their positive opinions of the TV shows and everything they've done.
I just like watching my friends make fools of themselves.
I'm still not, I still am not, I think tattooing was fine before the TV shows. Yeah, it opened it up to a whole new public, but it also opened up to a million new people that shouldn't be tattooing.
Sure.
So there was like a good side. There's some whatever like little good, and then there's some whatever bad. I'm not like a huge TV.
I think it might be a net zero game.
Yeah, and I'm not like a huge fan because I think you're also watching like these. There's tattoo artists that are trying to take a little bit of power back, and I appreciate what they're doing. They're going on like there's quality artists going on the shows, going. Maybe if I go on the shows, people will see it done right, and then we can sell that too.
And
but there's also
edited so it doesn't.
But there's also this like, what you're gonna do is you're gonna be the bad guy, and you're gonna be the good guy,
exactly.
And they're playing like it's like that grind monkey, like dance for the corporate man.
Most of it is exactly that
thing going on, and I'm disgusted. I genuinely am appalled at times that we allow this to happen. So that
we don't have control over that,
and we have no control. And what sucks is that someone made the best point about it is that they said, "You are now TV has become the new magazine because the industry is so flooded because of television. Mm-hmm. The only way to stand out now is to be on television."
Oh yeah.
So you created this like crazy double-edged sword with this thing called television. And tattoo television, reality television. So now you have these people that are like, well, if I don't go on TV, I can't keep a career.
Which is bullshit.
So, and then it's really crazy because then I look at guys that are like some of the old timers, like guys who I look up to that are still been doing it long before me, that were able to just kind of sink their teeth into their neighborhood and grind out like a good, solid audience, local, and not need to feel famous or whatever famous is, like, oh, I'm TV famous or I'm sponsorship famous. They didn't need that. They just went and did good fucking tattoos in their neighborhood and then have clients that come see them because they do good tattoos.
So, what do you think about people like, you know, there's a New Haven notable tattooer, been tattooing a long time, did TV, but is also grinding away just with his local thing. Like,
Every day, yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Like, where does that fall? Like, I respect that guy, you know, 1,000% because of every day that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And, but he did the TV thing. Like, where does that fall? Did he fuck up by doing TV?
It's not my place to say because I don't think they're fucking up. I think they're doing what they think they need to do. I don't like fault anybody for doing what they think they need to do to create business for themselves. Because it is like any advertising is good advertising, right? So it's not my job to fault them. I fault the fact that we allow TV shows to, or maybe it's not even the TV shows, it's consumers that decide, hey, you know what, I want to see dumb shit for an hour and a half.
Right.
And then I'll let the tattoo artist make some good art in there.
Right.
But at the same time, like, the TVs are a little like weird and like they're a little like poisonous at times. Like, clients shouldn't be seen as canvas.
Absolutely not.
You should not look at someone and go, how much tattoo can I get done in 45 minutes? Or whatever they're allowed to do. When they haven't slept, some of these people are not sleeping during these like shows.
Most of them are not.
They're not getting sleep. Yeah. The show is essentially creating an environment, a high stress environment, because that's how these shows
completely
thrive.
Intentionally.
They create an intentional high stress environment for these people, and then you go, here, go perform at your highest caliber without sleep,
right,
on edge,
no cell phone, can't talk to your family.
Yeah, like, and they do these psychological evaluations essentially where they're like finding shit to make these people, because they want them to argue, and most tattoo artists, for people like real people that aren't in the tattoo world that might be watching this, we don't bicker the way they do. Like, there's none of that nonsense happens in real reality.
Not like that.
Not like that. Not to that extent.
No, it's more like, hey man, stop leaving your shit in the break room.
Yeah.
You know.
So they create these environments for these people to try and perform at the expense of a person who has to wear it forever on their skin.
Right. And they're not even called a person.
And they're not called a person.
They're a canvas.
They dehumanize
or a skin
them,
or whatever they call it.
Dehumanize them altogether. And so, so that, I don't know, there's some rough stuff that's happening there. There's a lot of dehumanization that's happening in tattooing as it is. When you edit out the whole person around the tattoo, so you're now just focused specifically on the tattoo, and I'm just as guilty as this as anybody, you've removed the human aspect of the tattoo. When you're doing tattoos that have like it's like, your client comes in and they ask for a tattoo of like, hey, I want to get like a rabbit on me, and you're like, I'm not going to do a fucking rabbit on you. Today you're getting a skull. Right. Like, you dehumanized your client. Like, you took anything that they desired. They came in, they came in for your art and for your craft, but they're a fucking person who has like a desire to get a specific thing.
And they have their own ideas.
And you remove that because you think your idea is way more important than their idea. Like, to hell with it. Like, who are we that we think we have the right to just discredit human thought at the expense of my art? Go paint. That's why I paint. Right. The reason I paint is because I get to put whatever I want.
I mean, you have to admit, with modern tattooing, there is a bit of arrogance that comes with it now. Tattoo artists are like, not all of them. There are a few tattoo artists that are like, you came to me for my art, you're going to get my art. And we've lost this connection with our clientele.
And I appreciate there's two aspects to that. Like, if you come to me with an idea, expect me to do your idea in my vision.
Of course.
So that's
why they come to you.
So I get that. And then there's also the idea of, I'm going to create a piece of art, and if you like it, you can wear it. And you know what you're getting. But the idea, like, I've seen it happen where people are like, I came in to get my forearm tattooed, and I walked out with a
thigh tattoo
or a back piece.
Yeah,
Like, I got talked totally out of what I wanted out of this situation. I don't know. I don't agree with it personally. But
I don't either.
I like my interactions with my clients. Like, I involve them throughout the process because I don't have to wear the tattoo.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, it's my art, so I want to make sure you have the best art on you, but I don't have to wear that piece of art. Right. So if you feel like you've been eradicated from the whole scenario of the like process, down to the point that you are just considered a canvas and good luck. Maybe there's some people that like that, like they have no, like they don't want any say and they just want to wear the piece out.
I don't believe there's a lot of people out there that are like that, and I think the people that are out there like that have probably been influenced by modern tattoo television and media.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to collect, I got a Nico or whatever.
Yeah.
Not even Nico, because he's not on the TV. But like that, like as we talked earlier, like it's more about the experience with the client. You know,
well, there are some fashion. There are people like tattooing has gone fashion. So there are people that collect specifically, and I don't like using names at all if I don't have to. So
right, because you don't want to offend anybody. But
yeah. And some people are just left out of it. But if you say like, but there are people that will go, well, that guy's the cool shit right now, so I'm going to go get this specific thing from that guy. I don't care what he does as long as it's that thing. Like whether it's like I want that skull or I want that rose or I want that thing that guy does.
I'm going to get that rose because that guy does roses
he's
the best.
known for. Yeah, and that's what they're known for. And I think there's that is a part of it. Like, and that's what those people do. Like, and so when you come in, you're not going to get like an alligator. You're going to get a rose because that's what those people do. Is like they get a rose.
Right.
I understand. I also understand.
In Philly, roses are amazing.
What's that?
I said, in Philly, roses are amazing. Talking about Phil Garcia.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of guys who got some amazing roses. But Phil,
I love his.
He's a good dude too.
Awesome.
I work next to that guy.
I'll never get one because I'm not a rose guy, but they're fucking awesome.
Yeah, I worked next to Phil at Richmond. Me, Dave Koenig, and Josh Bowers. Awesomest guy. I've never had so much fun at a convention ever in my life as I did with those three guys. Dude, just awesome human beings. Just solid human beings.
Last time I saw Dave, we were getting ramen. It was me, Dave, my wife, Tony Moore, the illustrator, and his wife, getting ramen in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I thought I was going to be cool and just I wanted spicy ramen.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I can handle the spicy ramen. And Tony's like, no, man, you've never been here. You probably shouldn't get the spicy ramen. I got it. 5 minutes later, snot pouring out of my face, tears.
Oh, yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. And Dave and Tony laughed at me. We had a great time.
As they should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an amazing time. Yeah. Anyway, that was the last time I saw Dave.
They're good fucking guys.
We had a great time.
So.
At my expense, which was good. I'm okay with that.
It was also, you know, and it was cool. Like, we went and did that show, and then, like, 2 weeks later, I went out to Omaha, and then Dave and I drove out to hang out with Josh, and we just, because it was, there's a connection in art where you just are so about the craft, that our connection was the craft of tattooing, and there was, like, this, like, you could talk, and you felt like you were talking to someone who understood everything you were saying about
Like you're among your people.
You're among your peer, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. And I love Phil, and it's not that I mean to knock, because if you guys follow any of the like Instagram posts I am doing about the education, I've been talking a lot about the longevity of tattooing, and Phil doing realism is on that cusp of like people that like might feel attacked by the things I say.
Right.
But what I like is that he takes the information that I say and then he explains like he's backed in his process. He is willing to like learn from his process. Whereas like some guys will like, they take the information and they're like, doesn't apply to me. I've outwitted the tattoo game.
Right.
Like my white will never fade, whatever.
Which is an interesting take. Like,
and he was like, and I love Phil because him and I are doing some stuff together here soon where he was gonna allow me to like kind of do an interview with him and stuff.
Well, you've been talking about doing maybe a podcast thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to because I want to talk about tattoo.
Do you guys want to listen to a podcast with Gunnar? Because I do.
Not after this.
What do you mean?
So, but he's awesome. Phil's awesome, and he's got a lot of knowledge. And to watch him, he's a fucking technician. And I am like enamored by people who are like talented that just are so driven and hone their craft. And it's not like I'm just going to shit stuff out and hope people, I get a sponsorship tomorrow.
Sure.
It's like.
But all right, so you're very good at what you do, and you might feel like an imposter sometimes, right?
All
As an
the time,
artist.
yeah.
Right. He probably does too.
Yeah.
So like you look at people and you're like, that guy, he's got his shit together.
Yeah.
But I guarantee every day he's like, when are they going to find me out? When are they going to know that
I think a lot of art. I think we all go through that. Because, I'm friends with a fair amount of, well-known or established artist, and a lot of people don't talk about this. I mean, no one's going to address the self-doubt. I've talked about it like pretty openly, the doubts I go through as an artist, because I think it's important young kids that are getting into this know, like, dude, this is not an easy game.
I've talked with Jeff Gogway about it.
When
he feels that way every day.
When people are like, oh man, apprenticeships, they're so hard, man. They're so rough on me in apprenticeships. Well, good. It's a breeding ground for the fact that when you show up to work and you are dealing with human flesh and a client that might hate what the fuck you do, or people that are going to talk shit about what you do, if you don't have a thick skin, you are in the wrong business. If you are,
you're out.
If you are sensitive at all, like if you're like a little sensitive Nancy, pull out now. Like, get out. Like, find a new career. Go work in a library or something. I don't know what you should do, but you should
barista.
not be in, something. Wherever they fluff you.
That's porn.
Get out of tattooing, because if you're soft at all, you're going to get broken, because it's not easy. And because not only do you have to worry about the critiques of the people around you, or the critiques of the client that might not be happy with what you do, but you go home with those self-doubts, and you wear those into your house, and you wear that into your family life, and into your, like, you know, like,
and you repeat them to yourself.
Go home in my head, and I'm like,
repeat them.
fuck that shit up so bad.
You're
and
trying to fall asleep.
Looking at the photo, and then my loved ones are around me going, what's wrong with you? And I'm like,
look what I did.
Why the fuck do I do this job? This is tough. And I would beat myself up. And there's people that are like, it's just a tattoo. Who gives a fuck, you know? But I don't think that way. Like, I think, like, man, that person has to live with that fucking bank line.
Forever.
Like, forever.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, that could have been done this way and it would have been way more solid. Or, like, whatever things that you can nitpick. And then you live, and then you sit there and you suffer upon that.
The worst is when you, like, all right, you take the photo, it's done. They're gone. Everything was cool. You look at the photo later, and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
That line probably should have touched there. Or that line, maybe, is that a little gray? I think I might have blown that one out a little bit. Shit, I didn't bring the saturation all the way around. Like, that kind of shit. And you beat yourself up every day.
And it's harder, because the more you build up a career, like,
the more the pressure.
Because my name is,
yeah.
They stopped paying to get the tattoo. They came to get, like, I want a Gunnar piece. I want a piece by Gunnar or whatever. So now it's not. Now it's a name. It's no longer just a guy in a shop. It's no longer like that's like Dragon Layer Tattoo. Some dude at that tattoo studio did it.
No,
it is
it's like I'm gonna go buy a Frazetta.
Yeah, that guy did it, and now you have to own that flaw because. Good news travels fast, or doesn't travel at all. Bad news travels fucking fast.
And far.
And if you have a bad experience with your artist, or you do a piece that, like, people are like, dude, that guy did that? Like, that piece will become your biggest hit, so people can talk shit on it. Like,
absolutely.
It is not like, man, that's fucking awesome. It is, fuck, dude.
Wow, that's the worst Gunnar piece I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and so you live with that stress. There were moments I couldn't, I would be lying to say that it was easy ever, because it's never easy. And there were times where I just wanted to disappear and be like, I just want to be a street shop guy, because I feel like life would be easier if people expected less from what I do.
Just go be anonymous somewhere.
Just go be anonymous. Yeah. And there's a part of me that just was like, that would be so much easier to just be anonymous than to be a name in tattooing. And so all these guys are chasing.
How do you find that balance? How do you find the balance of being good at what you do and not having the pressure of being known? Because the better you get, the more you're going to be known.
And you put more pressure on yourself to be better every time.
And no matter how much you're known, you're going to put more pressure on yourself because you know that you're known.
Because even now, like, I'm 20 years now into my career or whatever. And so one of the things, like, I do now 20 years in is I want my clients who have pieces that are 20 years old or 10 years old to still feel like the guy that fucking tattooed him is on top of his game.
Right.
Rather than, oh, dude, I don't even know what happened to that fucking dude. It was
gone.
cool back when he was around, but he's fucking just did fucking crack and disappeared. Like,
he bought a Jeep and vanished.
He bought a Jeep and fucking took off around the country. Ironically, it's the best shit I ever did. Sometimes being a vagabond isn't bad.
I think it's been good.
But for me, it's just as important that like it was like I was doing gallery art for a while, like selling in galleries. If you buy a fucking painting from a person that is worth so price at one point, is it fair to make sure your fucking art appreciates in value or depreciates? Like,
right.
So as an artist, I want my work to kind of appreciate in value with time. Like, oh man, that you got a piece from that guy and it still retains some sense of value.
When I saw the Greg Irons tattoo 35 years after it was tattooed,
dude, and then I went and looked up Greg Irons.
Fuck yeah!
If you guys don't know Greg Irons, fucking look up Greg Irons.
But that's my point. Is like 35 years old. That tattoo's 35 years. Greg Irons has been dead for 25 years, or 20 years. I saw that tattoo and was like, fuck yes! Like that's where you want your tattoos to be. You know.
Yeah, and then now I couldn't compete with the art he was doing then.
No.
Like, he was phenomenal. That guy was phenomenal.
Yes, do yourself a favor, go look up Greg Irons. If you don't know who he was fucking amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
A lot of the stuff that you might rank on being like 80s
Wizards and stuff.
Wizards, yeah, that's cool now again, all that hipster stuff. Wizards and water and hot chicks.
Sorceresses.
Like he made,
like whatever
he did that shit. Wizards, Women, and Weirdness, or something like that.
Yeah,
like
but
that,
with an
like
illustrative, like he was like a real, legit artist.
So
like a legit illustrator.
Anytime you see someone trying to like cop some old school stuff, they're ripping off people that ripped him off. So go look up Greg Irons. He was amazing.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Fucking love that guy.
Yeah, dude, I was glad when you brought that up. I almost did a post about him recently because I felt like people should know because you were like a reminder for me, and I was like, man.
I'm like I'm a champion. Like anytime I run into anyone who doesn't know him, I'm like, fuck, check this out, check it out.
Yeah, there are some guys out there that are like, but he's like, yeah, he was top notch.
I've got some friends who are younger tattooers, like in their early to mid 20s, and they're drawing wizards and stuff that they think is cool because it's a throwback or whatever, and I have to show them that kind of thing and be like, look, this is the stuff that you're ripping off.
Yeah.
Like, I know you think it's cool because it was a hokey tattoo back in the day, but this is legitimate shit.
Yeah, he was a legitimate illustrator.
Yeah.
Like just as hands down top-notch illustrator. And his pen and ink stuff, because pen and ink is big now too.
Yeah, exactly.
His pen and ink work is just...
He was doing concert posters
just
and
phenomenal.
comic books. And,
yeah, phenomenal stuff.
He was amazing. Back to you. So you've been pretty outspoken in the last few months since you kind of landed again and stopped traveling. Yeah. You've been putting a lot of information out there about, not necessarily like secret stuff, just information about tattooing and the world of tattooing. What made you kind of open up and start giving this information out to people?
Well, it was kind of a two-part. So my vagabond thing wasn't necessarily like for those that aren't aware that might be watching this, I had a little studio in rural Ohio. I had kind of walked away from tattooing a little bit just to kind of regroup. I felt like very disconnected, and I was going through a lot of personal life stuff at the time. When my lease came up, I had had an option to move to California to take a job out there that started in like end of July, August time. My lease was coming up at the end of June, so...
And you're like in outskirts Ohio.
Yeah, so I'm in rural Ohio.
Needing a change.
Yeah, and I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I knew I didn't want to stay in rural Ohio. Like, it was an honor to be a part of the town. I got to it's a very conservative Republican town that was like, they were nice as hell, man. They embraced me as a tattoo artist.
You were doing community art stuff too,
I did. I was teaching art to like some of the young kids in town. They would send over from time to time some of the like misguided youth to come talk with me.
Which is great.
I was like a connection between like one world and the other. But I had a tattoo studio that was right next to the mayor's office and the prosecuting attorneys and the police station.
Very much ingrained in like a wholesome small town thing.
Yeah, with a little art gallery. And then so when that came to an end, and I had moved there essentially because I was in a relationship with someone who was from that area. So when I moved, I just wanted to be done, and I closed up my studio and was like, I didn't really know what I was going to do except for I was going to go to California and work. So I had 2 months to kind of kill time. So I was like, I sold everything I owned, and then just got in my Jeep and drove cross country, and then spent 2.5 months meandering the country.
Was it hard to sell everything that you had? Was it a hard decision to make?
The hardest part was like, I owned a lot of books. At one point, I think I owned like 4,500 books or something like that, or 2,500 books or something.
I love books.
And I collected for 20 years.
Sure.
So it was a lifetime. Like, that was all I cared about were my books. Like, I have books and I have art supplies, and that's it. That's all I really care about. I'm a very like minimal guy. Like, I don't watch television. I like to read and I like to create. That's it. So it was tough. It was kind of tough, and I met like some people online who, a young lady named Belladonna, who's out there somewhere in the world traveling, who had done this, and she was like, hey, here's some steps to minimalizing your life. And then all of a sudden people would start to write to me like, if you're going to be a minimalist, this is what you do to be a minimalist. So I sold everything down to whatever fit in my Jeep. And then...
It's not a big Jeep. It's a nice Jeep. It's not a big Jeep.
Yeah, it's a Jeep. I set a little hammock that goes angle to angle in the Jeep. And then I drove cross country. And then when I got tired, I would pull over and sleep. And then I meant to like... The original plan was I was going to meander and tattoo along the way.
Right.
And as I kind of got on the road, I realized I really needed like... It was kind of a spiritual journey.
Right. You need,
so I wanted to regroup.
openness, nature, life.
Yeah, and I'm in my 40s, and my whole life, like, I watched, my kids are growing up now. I've like been married and divorced. I've owned homes. Like, I've done all this stuff, and now I'm at like this new turning point in my life. So I was like, fuck it, we'll see where this goes. And I kind of like, I was reading The Alchemist a lot by Paulo Coelho.
Oh, no shit.
And it was all about this journey. And I talked with I had a friend who had set me up, this is the weirdest shit ever, but she set me up with this like psychic lady who basically was like, didn't know me from Adam. I never talked to a lady, and she was like, you need to move to LA and you should do it like a pilgrimage. And I was like, okay, that's what we're doing.
Were you a believer in that kind of stuff before that?
I mostly was a believer because I was already planning on going to LA, and she told me that's where I should
No,
go.
before that though. Were you a spiritual person? Did you have any stock in that kind of thing?
I'm a pretty like spiritual person, and I was like studying Catholicism right before then and stuff. Like I've done like a lot of philosophy and world religion studies. I just am not a religious guy, but I'm a believer in universal law. So yeah, so I sold everything and I drove cross country, and then and took my time doing it. And I wanted to paint and tattoo. I bought like this like paint setup that I was going to paint and do these plein air paintings.
Did you have this idealistic version of what you were on the road before you left?
I didn't know.
Were you picturing yourself as the guy with like the the sun hat and the small plein air easel? Like
No. I just knew I bought this like setup so I could go set up a tent and paint. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know how to fucking camp. So I was like super afraid of like camping and stuff.
Right. You don't want to get eaten by a bear.
I've never done this. Like I really never done this too much. And so when I did it, and it was really like
awesome.
I was in a really bad place mentally. Like I had hit like the lowest of low. I lost my business sucked.
Literally everything.
I had went through a major breakup.
Anything you didn't lose, you sold.
Everything I didn't lose, I sold. And so I really just kind of went out to discover who the fuck I was now. Oddly, as I did it, it started becoming, and I got this like sweatshirt, and I'm not wearing it today, that like one of my clients.
We're actually wearing matching shit today.
Yeah, because Tim's awesome.
Yeah. Timothy Bohr.
Yeah, so, I'm not even wearing it. I'm wearing it right there. Yeah. I took off my hat. So when I left, I didn't really know what I was going to get out of the whole experience. I really didn't have like anything, and I went on faith, and not like faith like religion. I didn't have a plan. There was no like, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to drive to this place.
Well, I mean, you're already at a spot where you started from scratch.
Yeah.
So where are you going to go? It's only going to get better, or it's only going to get different.
Yeah.
It's only going to be.
It's only going to get different. Yeah.
Which is okay.
And I knew I needed to make it to California by August. That's all I knew. So I would like drive somewhere, and it was really cool because I would set up on Instagram like, hey, I'm gonna be in this area. If there's anybody out there who wants to get like a beer or go camping or hiking, let me know and we'll meet up. And I would meet with strangers and I would have a drink and talk life with strangers. And
wow, that's awesome.
It was like super crazy. Like these awesome people out in California, Ted, they got me a hotel room for the night in the middle of like California. Like they were like, dude, you look like you might want to shower in a bed, like you've been on the road for a while, and got me a room. I had people that would like let me just stay with them. And part of like when you do a pilgrimage is you have to like humble yourself to the point that you can accept help, because it's what a pilgrim, like on a pilgrimage, you go with nothing. And so part of a pilgrimage is that you have to like, you have to become so humble that you are like open to giving.
You have to have the
because most of us can't
faith in the kindness of strangers.
Yeah, faith in the kindness of strangers. Because most of us can't take that. Most of us, like if someone was like, "Hey, here, I'll help you out." No, I'm good. I don't need your help.
I got this. I'm strong.
Will let me not accept your help.
Yeah, right.
So in the thing, it's when I was doing all the studying, because the original pilgrimage I went to do is the Camino de Santiago, which I'm hoping to do one day, and it's like a 600-mile walk from the Pyrenees Mountains to the coast of Spain.
Yeah, fuck that.
And when you do it, you have to accept the help of strangers.
Right.
So when I set this thing up, I was like, I'm doing a pilgrimage, and so if people like offer help, I'll take the help. If I can help others, I'll help others. So ironically, I had this client who sent me this hoodie that said "Connect and Inspire," and I like wear that thing almost every day. It's become like a talisman for me because I like the idea of like helping others, because so many people like helped me along my journey. Which is probably why I started doing this to some extent. So I made this journey, and I'm traveling around, and I'm meeting with a bunch of tattoo artists. I went and hung out with Guy. I went and hung out with Tim Boer for a minute. I hung out with Guy for a minute. Dave Koenig, Josh Bowers, Dominic Holmes, and all the guys over at Big Brain in Omaha. So I would stop and I would visit people.
Dominic and Lenny are fucking awesome.
Yeah, and super good. All those dudes.
Love those dudes.
Studio's awesome. It's like my second home.
Love
so that. I would stop and I would hang out with tattoo artists or art artists in general, and I would talk art and life. I hung out with Richard Oliver, who's like a phenomenal painter, and I would just talk life and art with them, and just kind of like, there was no like, I'm not trying to take anything from you. You're not trying to take anything from me.
There was no pretense there.
There was no pretense. It was just life, like living.
Right. And that's the way that, I mean, idealistically, that's, as an artist, that's the way you want to live every day.
And it was awesome because I didn't create art, but it's the most I've gotten out of being an artist in a long time. Like where I felt like my well was being filled. I talk about like filling the well a lot.
Especially in times of, you know, when creativity might feel like it's at its lowest.
At its lowest, and my confidence was at its lowest. So it was like good to kind of get this rebuild. When I got out to California, I was working at a place called Hidden Los Angeles for a while. I just couldn't book appointments. Nothing was happening. I was sitting on my ass a lot. And it was just, it wasn't the right environment for me. All the guys were awesome, but I felt like I was like a dad in a studio of like younger, I mean, they were all younger than me, and I felt like I was being a parent because I was coming in going, this is how you should do shit, and this is it. And I'm like, this isn't my job. Like, it's not your job to parent these kids. But it also, like, I felt like if I felt like that way, maybe I wasn't in the right place. Because sometimes we find ourselves in these environments where we're like, we're not in our comfort zone. And then we try to, like, you try to make yourself fit in that puzzle. I'm going to make myself fit in, and then you're like, and part of, like, when I gave up everything, a lot of what happened for me was, I don't have to fucking do anything I don't want to anymore. Like, if I don't fit in this, I'm not going to stay in it. That's how unhealthy relationships happen. So, but while I was there, I loved the guys to death, and they're all like, they'll always be family to me. It just wasn't, it was like, just wasn't a good fit for me tattoo-wise.
That's a really hard thing to decipher. Like, all right, are these guys fucking up, or do I just not fit here? Most of the time, you're like,
it was me, because as soon as I left, they were good.
But I understand your situation. But sometimes it's hard to figure out where you sit in that spot. Yeah. You're like, all right, does this need work, or do I need to leave?
Yeah.
You know, and most of the time, you're trying to fit in, not fit in. You're trying to, kind of work with everybody.
Yeah.
And so you try to be like, hey, what are you doing with that? What are you doing with, maybe we should do it this way. And then you're like, I'm just an old prick, huh?
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's what I felt like. I felt like a crotchety old like dude. Like, I'm like, why am I so fucking crotchety all the time? And having come from a journey where I was happy all the time, I knew if you are in that situation, like, and this is like a life lesson. Like, if I can share life shit right now, if you find yourself in a situation where you're miserable every day, change the fucking situation.
Right.
Or change yourself drastically.
Right. Well, sometimes,
I had already changed myself to the
just,
point that I knew I was happier in other environments.
Sometimes it's just you.
Yeah, and sometimes
and
it's
you have to, and you have to be able to be bright enough and see well enough to realize that I'm
the problem.
I'm not the problem. I'm the one who needs to move on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to fix this because this probably isn't broken. I'm what doesn't fit. I'm what doesn't fit.
And my needs and desires were different. But there was a guy there, this guy Rich that works there, who's just became like one of my favorite dudes in the world. And every day he was like, you should be teaching.
Which I agree with.
He was like, you should be teaching. I know you want to be an artist, but I think you could help more people if you taught than you'll ever help with a piece of art.
I think you should do both.
Yeah, I will never not be an artist. That shit's just ingrained in me. But he would say it all the time, and I didn't know where to start. And if people ask me, I will help them. I never am like, hey, you know what, you're doing this wrong. Like, it's not my place to like butt in like that.
Well,
but
you're also from the Northeast, so you would never say it that directly.
Yeah.
But you would be like, hey man, you might want to try this.
You might want to try this.
You might want to try this, you know. What do you want? So everyone, Gabe Ripley's asking if we want another drink.
I'm good for now.
I think we're good. Thanks, Gabe Ripley.
Yeah. So that got brought up a lot, and then I was hearing that a lot along the way.
Sure.
So if you believe in universal thought, or you read The Alchemist, there's this thing that, like, if you hear it over and over, like if your friends tell you something and you're hearing it from a bunch of different friends, or if you hear it, like, if something's being said to you repeatedly, it's a lesson you're supposed to learn.
Pay attention.
Pay attention. Right. Yeah. So you'll have those moments in life where your friends, like, you'll have one friend that's like, I don't know about that girl, man. I mean, that's cool. Like, I don't want to tell you what to do. But, and then, like, another friend will, like, say it, and then another friend. It's usually you should not be with that person. Like, there's a way the universe talks to us. And I genuinely believe that, for sure.
I do too.
So when that came about, when I was hearing, like, you should be teaching, and I heard it, like, a lot, and it was just nonstop feeding. And I was like, I don't have a classroom. And I'm listening to all these people bitch about all these fucking kids that don't know what they're doing in tattooing.
And they're angry. And they're angry about it.
And they're angry about it.
Right. As opposed to having having an outlook of actually being like, all right,
being beneficial.
How can I help these kids?
How can I help?
Everyone's pissed. You have a different outlook on that.
Yeah. And I had a format to offer help where I had like, there's like 40,000. I think all in all, I have like 200,000 followers between that and Facebook or some shit. And it's not real. Like, those people aren't all there, but there might be like 4,000 there.
Some of it's real. Some of it's real. A good percentage. A lot of people have paid attention.
So it started like simple, where it was just like, if you're gonna try painting, this is a short-handled paintbrush, and this is a long-handled paintbrush, and short-handled paintbrushes are for detail, and long-handled paintbrushes
back it up
are
a
for
little.
backing up.
Exactly.
Like these like little tips that someone's like, fuck, dude, that one little thing. Now I know, like, and it can help you. So I started with those like little art tips. Like, this one little tip might save you like years of frustration. I never had that. There was nobody, like, I worked around a lot of good artists, so I was very fortunate. It took me a minute to get there. And then I was very fortunate. Not everybody gets to work around a bunch of big name, like.
So there is a little bit of a, not everyone gets to, but you didn't get to either. You put yourself in that position. You put yourself in a place where you're around artists.
Yeah, I was hungry for that like environment.
So, and I totally agree with what you're doing, but there is a certain aspect of the generation now that waits for things to come to them, as opposed to them going out and looking for things. You know, so that information is there.
Yeah.
If they just go look for it a little bit, you know, it's not going to come to you via Instagram unless they're reading your stuff.
No, and you have to like, and you really, and
you have to be
a lot of that
hungry
stuff
for
is,
it.
you have to be hungry, and you have to overcome fear. Like, when I like threw away everything I had to kind of travel the country, like, that was a huge like I'm gonna basically go homeless and see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Just throw it all up in the air and be like, all right.
But for me, that was like, what other thing can you face fear? Like, I willingly became homeless to overcome that fear of loss because I was so afraid of losing stuff. Because my whole history, like up to that point,
Absolutely.
it was all these losses that like had generated my low self-esteem.
Right.
Well, fuck it, now I'm giving up everything and we'll start from scratch. And then
it's
when
not gonna
you
get
like
worse.
do that, you build the confidence of like, I
can
started
do
from
this.
nothing and look where I'm at. I started from like, I just drove cross country with nothing in my fucking pocket. And here I am today on the whole other side of the, I went all the way there and back, have never gone hungry.
I survived.
Like I
kept myself warm.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
I get
so then you start to, then it builds a confidence. Like I did this and I achieved this. But when people don't take those risk factors, they never build confidence. So when I hear people are like, well, I'm socially awkward, so I don't really know how to be around people. Then go fucking talk to people.
Right.
Because unless you're practicing every day, you're never going to get better. You're
Well,
never going to learn the skills that it takes to get
being
there.
socially awkward is a lot easier now because you
It
can
is.
still exist in the world and be socially awkward and never interact with a person because of social media.
Yeah,
so
but
it's a little easier.
But when we're in a business of people,
Right.
it's an
So,
awkward place
yeah,
to be.
yeah, I'm not saying
and
that's-
if you're afraid to go to conventions,
I'm not saying
where,
that's
like,
right, and I'm saying that's where the weakness is now.
Yeah.
Is because being socially awkward is easier, and you can be an artist and never interact with a person
never interact
until you get to a point where you have to interact with a person, and you have never developed any of those skills.
no social skills. Yeah.
Right, because everything's been online, and you can put your art out there, and you can become someone who people really like, without ever talking to a person, and that's where a lot of these people are now. They're like, I'm 22. I want to be a tattooer. People like my art, but I've never spoken to a real person.
Yeah, and then you have to be able to sell your product.
Yeah.
But you don't know how to sell anything.
You don't even know how to speak loud enough so people can hear you. Yeah.
And then it's tough.
Which
I won't like, even if like with the TV, like I don't want to be on that shit. I don't want to be like a personality on that. I still like being a little bit reclusive.
Sure.
Like your life is on there. You can end up on TMZ if you're on TV. That shit happens. So I don't want that shit happening to me.
I'm way too boring to end up on TV, on TMZ anyway.
You're not boring at all.
Well, you're on TV right now.
Yeah, but this is like, but I get to be me.
Internet
I'm not
TV.
like a character.
Yeah, it's not reality TV, it's reality.
It's reality, yeah.
There's no script. Hey, Gabe. Yeah. How many people got to see us on this not reality TV? What? You might be
still
surprised.
live?
Oh yeah.
They're watching this nonsense.
No, I just wanted the bigger number. So what are you going to do with this advice later?
Well, right
You
now,
talked about maybe doing a podcast.
I wanted- the
I've been
podcast
watching it
is-
trickle out on social media, but I don't think it's a really good avenue because it's hard to read and it's disjointed because sometimes I'll see stuff that's 2 days old on top of stuff that's 10 hours old.
yeah, it's weird because that goddamn
the
algorithm
algorithm, right.
messes it up. Well, I'm not writing, like when I do the writing, it's all like, I wake up in the morning.
Inspired
And
sometimes.
I have, yeah, well, because I
It's like, all right,
so-
morning wood.
Yeah, so because I wake up and I do like, I do like a morning, I have like my gratitude and meditation shit I've learned to do in the morning. I find it's very helpful because if you don't have gratitude, you start to like take for granted what you have.
Absolutely.
So I do this thing, and then during that time, like if there's something I came across the night before, or somebody asks a question, it'll stick in my head. Like Chris Dingwell and I just had an awesome conversation that we kind of touched upon here, where we were talking about removing the human element from tattooing. So then I'm like, that's a fucking thing. Like that's
So something
what
will
we're gonna
resonate
write
with
about.
you
So
when you get
something
up.
will resonate. Yeah, resonate. Yeah, exactly. And I do it all. It's all right here on this like thing. So I get up and I write in my like notes section or whatever. And I have a thing that's just like notes, and it's all like art tips. So I just have like all these like little art tips, you know. And then I just write, and I write it down. Then when I bring it into Instagram, they only allow me a certain amount of characters,
Right.
so I
So
have
they
to
have to,
like
like,
go
condense it a
refresh
little?
my information a little. Yeah. And it's really just me talking. And so it's not like, some of it's not educational as much as it's like, what I found for people is it's like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Absolutely.
Like, somebody else is going through this shit. Oh man, someone else's relationship is falling apart because they're too busy fucking painting in the studio or drawing, or
I think
someone
a
else is
lot
like,
about like a lot about what makes you be able to take steps in life is not purely like advancing your education. It's about realizing there's other people out there that feel exactly the same way that you do.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I fucked up my marriage. I'm never sleeping anymore.
Yeah.
I drink too much. I'm a piece of shit. And then you realize that there's a couple hundred other people out there that did exactly the same thing, who you might look up to, and like you might have respect for their artwork, and you're like, oh, it's not just me. I'm not broken alone, you know. And how do we fix this together?
And that's what I really like. Why going off Instagram with it has been what I liked about it is I allowed people a platform where they felt that they could expose themselves too. Because if I do a podcast, it's just me and that guy talking.
Your guest, right.
With Instagram, I let people kind of vent their views, and for the most part, I'll respond to them or I'll talk to them. I get a lot of stuff that comes through like the back end, like DM stuff, where they like open up to me about their life, and I get like a lot of
Be careful, because once that faucet's open, it's not going to close.
Yeah, and I get like a lot of like personal questions, and like there's always these questions that come up like, hey, I feel like I'm in this situation and I don't know what to do or if I should be in it. And then my response is always going to be, if you're writing to me because you feel this way, you already know what the fuck you should do. Like, you're just looking for a little someone to say yes,
this way,
like,
or
go
no.
do it. Yeah, right. But I get those a lot, and I get like a lot of people like, but I like that personal connection with. I genuinely, like, as much as a recluse as I don't mind being, because I have to like decompress. And when I hike or go to a museum, it's always alone. I'm always alone until I do this stuff or until I come out to do these.
You like people, you just may not enjoy.
But I also
humanity.
but I also find that I've learned a lot about myself, and I learned I need to recharge. And my recharge happens in quiet time. So I do I come out, I'll be all like, hey, 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 and then I go back into the studio or to my place, and then I am quiet, and I like quiet a lot, and then I recharge. I don't like loud environments very much, but I like conversation a lot. And so with the Instagram, it allowed me to open up that's what it is. It's conversation. Because it's, I have some people that are on there and they make these stupid fucking comments like, oh, it must be nice, you get on your soapbox. I'm not on a soapbox. I opened up a platform for people to have a discussion.
Absolutely.
You're a fucking idiot, and you came in with some you have your view of how you think the world should be, and nobody should be allowed to have different thoughts.
I would say most of your stuff doesn't come off as evangelical. Like, you're not preaching to anybody.
No, and
you make a statement. Or most of the time, it's a question.
Yeah, I open up a lot of questions.
Yeah,
because usually what I'm asking people is me asking it's me talking to myself.
Right.
So even when I teach people, the stuff I talk to when I teach is me going, hey, how would I do this? How would I approach this?
For me, it doesn't come off preachy at all. It comes off mostly questioning.
I do a lot of questioning.
Yeah. And you get a lot of group response of people being like, yeah, man, I thought that too. I think this. What about this? Yeah. It's been a great forum to read.
But it's the people that won't leave the comments where they I think they're sometimes afraid to because they have opposing their opinions
they don't want to open.
That they're afraid to because there's a lot of cheerleading that happens in this.
Sure.
Tattoo, that was one of the reasons. I used to be a little bit louder a long time ago.
You used to be a lot louder.
10 years ago, I was a lot louder. And what I found is there was a group of people that cheerleaded you,
right?
And then as soon as you walked out of the room, we're like, I can't believe that fucking dude talks like that. Yeah,
man, what a fucking disgruntled dick.
Yeah, and they would do that. They're like, yeah, exactly what you said. And then as soon as you leave, they're like, fuck that guy.
Man, he's offensive.
Yeah, so I stopped trying to be I don't try and attack anything. I like to, and I'm a big believer in you have to look at the whole of it. When we talked about the girl in the magazine thing, that just happened. My thought process comes in one way. I'll look at it and I'm and we all form our opinions based on our own truths. So if
there's no way to form an opinion other than that.
So unless you experience like life through someone else's eyes, like the only way I can come through life is like I'm a 43-year-old dude who's pretty much a white guy in America, and
Pretty much.
Well, I got a little mix in there somewhere, but and then and I'm like middle class, maybe lower middle class at one point, middle class, but so that's and I tattoo for a living, so that's kind of my and whatever experiences I've gained like through life and divorce and raising kids and whatever, those are my life experiences. So when I judge things like having I have 2 daughters.
Yeah, me too.
At this point, I've raised periodically throughout my life about 5 or 6 kids. When I look at stuff, I look at like my view on like with the girl posing.
What's your perspective?
That way was me as a father being a little bit protective, but also me being a man who is a man. And then
also being a puritanical New Englander.
Yeah, and being a puritanical New Englander. And then, but then I'll listen to the opinions of someone else who doesn't come from that, because that's how you form.
For me, listening to a strong woman's opinion about that very same image that we saw was very eye-opening.
Yeah.
Because I looked at it this way, like ready to defend women's rights and be like, this is wrong. Women, I can't believe they would objectify them like this. Like thinking I was coming from a stance of righteousness.
Oh, yeah.
I was probably wrong.
We were probably wrong.
Or I've doubted it, because I thought, shit, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
And then to read a strong woman's opinion about it from the other end.
Yeah. Well, it came from 2 different ends.
About the expression. I was like, shit, maybe I don't have enough information.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking at this from my perspective.
But that's why I like doing this stuff too, is because when I sit in and have conversations, I like talking to people that don't think like me. Like I went from being a liberal New Englander to living in rural conservative Ohio in the smack dab middle of it. And you don't adapt to me, I adapt to you. I came into your world. Right. So my job is to be in your zone. So you don't have to change for me. I have to change to be, or at least I have to adapt to the way you're thinking. And now we're in this world where nobody I think this way and everybody should think my way. No, that's just ignorant.
Absolutely.
Because
it's unyielding. And
it doesn't. There's no progression or conversation that happens. And so the more I've opened myself up, when I talk with Kelly and the folks over at Helheim, they have a whole different perspective on life than I do.
Absolutely.
But when they talk to me about
because it's a shop of very strong women.
Yeah, but it was crazy because they were talking about the way their studio is set up and how there's the people wanted them to build these full ceiling
but
to
they have half
walls.
Yeah, they have half walls.
They had wanted locking doors, and then they were like, well, what happens if we're trapped in here with a man that might try and take advantage of this situation? Where's my escape route? And I'm like, fuck, man, I've never had to think about that escape route.
No.
I don't have, that
never came into play planning a tattoo shop ever.
And I don't think most guy tattoo artists think of that stuff because they don't have to live that environment. So what I liked about doing this, and it's also the reason why I got excited about the podcast idea, is when you open up conversation with people and you get new perspectives, it can instantly change your all the thought stuff, all these this is my belief and this is the way it is.
Yeah, you can have a very rigid worldview and then have it shattered. By one conversation.
And then you're like, oh my God, now I feel like a dick because I didn't even know better. I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, you look back retrospectively and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was that guy for a while.
I could have been that guy.
Right. You just want to say you're sorry 1,000 times and then grow.
And it's crazy. So you have those situations, or just situations I've had with other tattoo, when guys who are custom. I've been a custom only artist for however many years. I now I go and I do street shop stints where I just disappear.
Which is great. I think everyone should.
I just disappear and I do banger tattoos, little Pinterest tattoos that guys bitch about.
Which are important. If you're a new tattooer,
it's important for everybody. If you're an old tattooer, you should be doing it still too. Yeah. Because what happens is you humble out a lot when you realize sometimes a tattoo this big is harder then your custom
There's
tattoo
no room.
this big.
There's no room for error. No, and it's got to be perfect.
You have to walk fresh people through the whole process again. So every day I get to, like, when I do that stuff, I like it because I'm learning to, like, have a respect for clientele that are fresh to it, not that are seasoned collectors. Because it's like you become jaded. I mean, when you have 20 years under your belt, it's because you listen to people that are like, man, if I have to listen to one more person ask this dumb fucking question. Well, yeah, it's old for you. But it's brand new for them.
For them,
like,
yeah.
Until you can put yourself in a position
and you
where
know
you get that, like...
you know how important that tattoo is to them?
To them, yeah.
You know? It might not be important to you to do this small symbol on them, but that's their first tattoo.
Yeah.
That was a huge step for them. And it's permanent on them.
And it's permanent on them, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a human. It's not a canvas. It's a human.
I love that about my job.
Yeah.
Like that interaction with people, I fucking love it.
First
tattoo, 20th tattoo, it doesn't matter. Like, I love that experience.
The reality, if you don't, get the fuck out and go be a painter. Like, get out. If you don't like the human element of tattooing, get out. Get out. We're full. Get out. Seriously. Because it's like, I'm a tattoo collector. If my artist treated me like shit,
I'd get up and leave.
Yeah, like I won't deal with that.
All right, Gabe's trying to get me to get. No, he's just trying to get me to get on camera because I keep slouching over here. Because I had whiskey, so I'm over here. I'm like, this is relaxing.
Yeah.
But we should wrap it up because we need to leave stuff that you haven't heard for Gunner's podcast.
Okay. Or I'll just return and we could talk shit more because I like this.
Oh, this is great. That's why I offered you a segment about a month ago. I was like, hey, man, anytime you want to just come chat. This. It's good. It's a good forum because the people that watch actually give a fuck about tattooing.
And we should. It's awesome. We have like the best job in the world. It's really probably the best job in the world.
For me, I came into it super late. I've had a lot of other jobs.
Except for just being inherently rich would be pretty awesome.
You know what? I think I would appreciate this more. I've never been just like rich, wealthy, you know, so I've never got to experience just being able to get up and do whatever the fuck I want to. Yeah. But the satisfaction I get out of coming to work every day and making people happy and being able to create art is pretty fucking awesome. Yeah.
I did really like, I had this idea though, if I could have been like a park ranger while driving through Colorado, I would have done that. I think I would have liked that a lot. But maybe I wouldn't have. But it seemed like I really wanted to live in a log cabin in the middle of nowhere.
I do that now.
Yeah, do you?
And I tattoo.
See, that sounds good.
I live in a log cabin on the top of a mountain, 1.5 miles up a dead-end road. Yeah. And I drive here an hour every day so I can tattoo. And it's a pretty good fucking combination.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
It's good. And I don't think I could have dreamed anything better, you know. Independently wealthy would be great, but I think I would be bored. And I think I would miss people. Yeah. Even though I fucking hate people.
But it's what, you know, with tattooing, like, I gotta say, maybe I've just been lucky. Like, I end up being pals with most of my clientele.
Oh, I mean, I hated people long before I was ever into tattooing. Yeah. And I say that in a very New England kind of like, fuck people. But the people I deal with every day, they're great. Yeah. I love them. Whether they want, you know, a dandelion blown away into their dead child's initials or they want a fucking full sleeve of some crazy ass shit. Yeah. I like them all the same. They're pretty great. Except for the jockey douchebag guys. Stop asking me for stuff because you guys aren't cool. No, I don't want to make stuff that makes you attractive to ladies who are never going to date you. But the rest of you guys are awesome.
I don't think that makes them attractive to.
No, but that's what they're trying. That's what they're trying.
Peacocking.
Yeah. Peacocks. Stay away. Anyway, this is Gunnar. I'm Ben. Thanks for watching. Well, look, 10,000 viewers.
That's a lot.
Robbie Rapole says, hey guys, love you both. You know Robbie?
Oh yeah, I sure do. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah.
He's still alive?
Robbie, you're the most positive dude I've ever met.
He is. He's a sweetheart.
I'm really happy that you exist in this world. I'm supposed to do a wrap-up right now, but I'm not going to do it. Half an hour after this show, if you guys want to log into a brutal critique, go to tattoonow.com/free trial, and you can log into the professional development section of this show, but I won't be there for that because I've got a little whiskey to drink. Enjoy your evening. I'm Ben Licata. This is Gunnar Gaylord. Later.
Every tattoo is a collaboration of efforts for both the tattooer and the one getting tattooed. It takes understanding and perception to truly convey the message of each piece. I tattoo on a large scale, and I've been tattooed that way as well. I got my full back done in Yokohama, Japan by Shige, the Yellow Blaze. 7 trips to Japan, 12 full-day tattoo sessions over the course of 3 years. My life was changed forever. It transformed my tattooing and continues its ripple effects through my own work and the tattooing I do every day in my studio. I have clients from all around the world, and the thought of those ripples changing lives in other countries, families, and cultures is humbling. It simultaneously fills me with gratitude and pride that I have such a privilege in my life. I started this journey nearly 20 years ago, getting tattoos and giving tattoos. But I've been changed. I don't just have tattoos now. I am tattooed. I had to surrender who I was to become who I am. And that transformation is ongoing and ever-changing.